Today I'm reviewing the EVIPower 48 amp electric vehicle smart charger by EVIQO. We'll be doing all the usual tests, including our deep freeze test, extreme heat test. I'll be dropping the unit to test its robustness, all that usual stuff. But first, let's open her up and see what comes in the box. State of Charge is powered by Qmerit. After I've helped you decide which electric vehicle charging equipment you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and let the EV charging installation professionals at Qmerit install it. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, we've got the body of the unit. Comes with a long 25-foot cable standard, which is very long for cables, pretty much the longest you're going to get. It also has a very long plug, the cable for the plug. It's more than 3 feet long, which is long. It's useful if you want to have your NEMA 1450 right next to where your charger is. Now, I say this about the NEMA 1450 because out of the box, this comes set to deliver 40 amps and it has the NEMA 1450 plug attached, but the unit can deliver 48 amps. To do so, you have to remove this plug and directly hardwire it. And then there's a dip switch inside that you set for the higher output. We'll go over that a little bit later, but out of the box, it'll only deliver 40 amps because it has a NEMA 1450 plug. There is a mounting bracket on the back that comes attached to it. I already removed the 2 little screws. This gets mounted on the wall like this. The unit basically hangs on it, and then you put the 2 screws on the side that hold it together. And they're security screws. They're not just regular screws where someone can steal it. Well, somebody with a security Allen key can steal it. But they give you the Allen key that has like the little dimple in the middle of the screw so that somebody just can't show up with a screwdriver and steal it on you. It's a certain level of security, not a whole lot. Okay, it has NEMA 1450 plug we talked about, J1772 connector. This doesn't come with the NACS connector, not yet at least. And I like this connector. It's a really well-made, rubberized, strong quality connector. This is, I think it's the same connector that Wallbox uses for the Pulsar Plus. It feels exactly the same. It looks the same, except it has the name stamped on the side, and Wallbox has their little company brand, but that can be changed by the manufacturer. It also comes with this rubberized cap, which is interesting because inside the cap, I don't know if you can see that here, it has special inlets for all the J1772 pins. I've never seen that before. Usually these caps are just flat on the inside, you just cover it up. But this actually has individual inlets for each one of the pins. I don't know if that's gonna make it any better. If the rubber cap covers it, it should be good enough. But interesting, I've been reviewing a lot of these chargers and I've never seen one. Actually, it's making it harder to take off, which I don't like. I don't like, if it's so hard, people won't use it. This thing's hard to get off. I've never seen that inside the rubber connector cap. Okay, over here, this is the connector holster. Again, you remove one of these security screws from the bottom, and this is the mounting bracket. Usually these things are just screwed directly to the wall. This is actually made very well. I like that it has a separate metal wall bracket, which you'd mount here. It has 4 different screws for that. And then the same way that the charger attaches, you kind of just lock it on like that and then screw. This is on the bottom. The charger has the 2 screws on the side, and then this will holster the connector. You also have this lip on the top here, so you could wrap the cable around it and manage your cable. There's also a lip on the top of the unit. So if you wanted to, you could probably just hang some of the cable on the unit, or whatever you prefer, but it won't fall off. There's a little lip on the front edge, so it won't fall off. Some of the chargers are rounded on the top, so you can't put the cable around it, it'll fall off. But since it has this connector holster, it's probably better to holster and manage the cable there. All right, what else we have here? They give you 9 of these drywall anchors, and these are good quality anchors. Usually I get real cheap, like a bag of real cheap anchors, and I tell the installation partners, don't use those. Throw them out and use your own good quality drywall anchors because you want these to be really attached well to the wall. But these are really good quality, so you could use these. I like this. Probably the best anchors I've gotten on any electric vehicle charging equipment. And here's the installation guide. And you have two templates. This one template is for the bracket to hold the connector holster, and this bracket here is for the bracket that holds the charger itself on the wall. So that's what it comes with. Oh, it also comes with one extra screw. I don't see any use for it, so I think they just give you an extra one in case you drop these and lose them. But we'll find out later in the review when I'm installing it. Maybe I'll find a use for it, but right now I think they just give you an extra one. And I also think they give you an extra anchor because I think you only need 4 for that and 4 for this, and they give you 9, so it makes sense. You know, I think EVIQO just gives you 1 extra of each, which is a good thing. I like to see that. Okay, so next up, we'll mount the unit and the connector holster to the wall. We'll take a look at it before we open it up and see exactly what's inside. Before I jump into the review, first let's take a look at the EVIQO Evipower's key features. The unit retails for $399, and you can purchase it directly from the EVIQO website and also on Amazon. As for dimensions, it's 9.45 inches wide by 9.45 inches high, and it's 4 inches deep. It's a 48 amp unit that can deliver 11.5 kilowatt to your vehicle when hardwired, but if it's used as it comes out of the box as a plug-in unit, it's limited to 40 amps. It has a 25-foot long cable. It comes with the J1772 connector. It's IP66 rated, which is equivalent to NEMA 4X, which is a good weatherproof rating. The operating temperature is negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a Wi-Fi connected smart charger with an app. It's ETL certified. It is Energy Star rated. It comes with a 2-year warranty, and the unit is made in China. Okay, so I have the unit mounted up on the wall. It's actually very easy installation. I explained before how you mount the bracket, then just slide the unit on it and put the 2 screws on the side. Really simple. And this is set up to be a plug-in unit with the NEMA 1450 plug. And in this configuration, it can deliver 40 amps to the electric vehicle, which should be good for somewhere between 20 and 45 miles of range per hour of charging, depending on how efficient your electric vehicle is. Now, this unit can also deliver 48 amps, but you need to directly hardwire it to do that. We're going to go over that next. I'm going to open the unit up and show you how we would hardwire it. And there's an internal dip switch that needs to be changed because out of the box, it's set to deliver a maximum of 40 amps. So if you are going to hardwire it, you've got to change that dip switch and then it'll deliver the full 48 amps. As for the connector holster, as I mentioned before, you see it's got this nice little lip here so you can strap the cable around it. It's a little bit of an angle. As you can see, the connector is angled down. I like that better than sometimes the connectors go straight in. It seems like they're harder to holster when they go straight in. I like when you kind of have to go up into the connector holster. It's a little thing, but I think it makes holstering the connector just a little bit easier. It's a pretty decent unit. This is plastic. The bracket on the wall is metal. Seems like it's made strong enough though, and as I said before, I really like this connector. As you can see here, there is a solid green light here. It's a Q actually lit up, and that's because it's ready to charge a vehicle. If I plug in an electric vehicle, while it's communicating with the vehicle, this green is going to pulse green. But then while the vehicle is actively charging, it's going to be blue and pulse blue. When the vehicle has completed charging, it will be a solid blue. And if it's red, that means there's some sort of a fault somewhere. There's also this little line here, and as you can see, it's pulsing blue. And that's because I just turned the unit on. I just plugged it in, and I haven't connected it to the app yet. Yes, there is an app that comes with the EVIQO, and I'm gonna download that app and pair it a little bit later in the review. We'll see what type of features that offers. But for now, what I'm gonna do is take it back off the wall, There's 7 screws on the back side of it that have to get removed in order for you to take this front cover off. And we'll take a look inside and we'll go over how it would be hardwired if you wanted to deliver the full 48 amps. So once you've removed those 7 screws in the back of the unit, you can then lift the cover off. And when you do so, you disconnect that ribbon cable. And this is what you have. Let's take a look inside. Now, first off, you're going to be piping in your hard wiring through the same opening where the NEMA 1450 plug currently is. Some electric vehicle chargers allow you to have a cleaner installation with a knockout in the rear of the unit somewhere. This doesn't have that, and there's nowhere to put it because the bracket, the mounting bracket, covers most of the back of the unit, so you really can't get it in anywhere there cleanly. So you're gonna have to use this opening here. And I mean, you could stub some really short conduit out of the wall if you want it to look clean and come up in here, but that's how you're gonna do it. There's no other way to get the power into that unit. And you're gonna obviously land your power here. I always recommend that you have a licensed professional do your hardwiring work for you, preferably somebody that has a lot of experience installing electric vehicle charging equipment. These connections need to be torqued perfectly for long-time safety. I've done plenty of videos on that, including one that I just did last week where a Tesla owner almost had a serious problem in his house because the electrician didn't properly install his Tesla wall connector. Okay, so this is what it looks like inside. Here's where you're gonna land the hard wiring power. Now you've got to set the unit to deliver the full 48 amps. And interestingly, the dip switch is actually on this cover here, and that's why I'm holding it. I've never really seen a circuit board on the cover. Usually everything's on the back, the base of the unit, but you know, they have it on the inside of the cover here. And the dip switch is right here. Let's see if I can get closer, if you can get a look at that. So out of the box, this is set to deliver 40 amps because it has a NEMA 1450 plug, and that is on dip switch number 2. If you want to deliver 48 amps, you twist it to dip switch number 3. If you want to have even lower power delivery, if you put it on dip switch number 1, it's going to limit the output to 32 amps. If you put it on dip switch 0, it'll limit the output to 16 amps. So you do have 16, 32, 40, and 48 amp power outputs that you can set inside with the dip switch. So if you're going to hardwire it, in addition to doing that, you got to set this little dip switch here to number 3, and it'll deliver the full 48 amps, and you'll charge a little bit faster if your EV can accept 48 amps. There's plenty of electric vehicles out there today that are limited to 40 amps. So make sure that your car can accept 48 amps if you really want to do this. But if you can't, let's say your EV can only accept 32 amps or 40 amps, you won't hurt it by setting this to 48 amps and installing it with a hardwired system. Your EV will always dictate how much power it takes in, so you can charge at a charger that can deliver a lot more power than what your car can accept. It'll never damage the car, so you don't have to worry about using a charger that, let's say, is more powerful than what your car can accept. And one more thing before I put the cover back on. This unit is IP66 rated, which is kind of like NEMA 4X, which is a good weatherproof rating. It should be able to protect the innards from blowing, driving rain and dust. And this is how they accomplish it. You can see the perimeter here of the charger. It has on the inner side, there's a ridge that sticks out about 1 millimeter. And now you have the inside of the cover here. I'll see if I can get a little bit closer. And you see this gasket in here? That's a recessed rubber gasket that fits in here. And the outer edge of the charger fits in here, and then these 7 screws pull it together. So it's actually a pretty good design. I think that this is going to be very good with preventing water intrusion, and this is nicely constructed. It's a plastic unit, but it's well made. This isn't flimsy plastic. Some of the other charging equipment that we've reviewed here, and I talk about it in the review, feels kind of like thin, flimsy plastic. This doesn't. It's pretty solid. It's well made. It might not be, say, as thick as like a Clipper Creek unit, which are like virtually indestructible, but it's up there. This is a good solid unit that I think has robust construction. It's going to last a long time. It's time for the automatic restart test. With the automatic restart test, we simulate a power outage. Let's say your EV was charging overnight and you had a temporary power outage, but then power was restored. We want to make sure that the charger continues to charge the electric vehicle or begins charging it again once power is restored. Most electric vehicle chargers pass this test, but every now and then we find one that for whatever reason, once power is interrupted, it doesn't re-engage and continue charging the car unless you unplug the connector and plug it back in. That doesn't help you if you're sleeping and the power goes out and then turns back on. It could be momentarily, just for like 30 seconds, and you'll wake up in the morning and your EV isn't charged. So I'm going to pull my Chevy Bolt EV into the garage now, plug it in, have the unit charge the vehicle, and then I'm going to go downstairs and turn off my circuit breaker for about a minute and then turn it back on. And what we should see is the charger re-engage the vehicle and start charging it again. So that's exactly what I did. I plugged the Bolt in, it was charging just fine, went to my service panel, shut the breaker off that powers the NEMA 1450 outlet. The charger shut off. I waited a little bit, turned it back on. The charger powered up, it cycled through its different cycles, and then immediately started charging the Bolt EV again with only about a 20-second delay. So passes the test. Okay, so it's time for our extreme heat test. I've had this heat lamp baking on the unit for 2 solid hours, and over that time I've tried to maintain around 120 degrees of surface. Right now it's at 128.5 degrees, so it's a little bit warmer than what my goal was, but for most of the 2 hours it was hovering around 120 to 122 degrees. It's getting a little warmer now because it's been on there so long. I'm now going to plug in my Rivian R1S and let it deliver the full power, the 40 amps, because this is plugged into a NEMA 1450, so the most it can deliver is 40 amps. I'm going to monitor the Rivian and make sure that it's accepting the full 40 amps for 2 solid hours while I leave this heat lamp on the unit continuing to bake it. That temperature is going to go up dramatically once it starts delivering power, because they always heat up when they're delivering power, even when there's not a heat lamp on them. And I try to simulate what it would be like if this was mounted outside somewhere in a very hot climate area, like say Arizona, and the sun was just baking on it all day. We want to make sure that the unit continues to deliver the full amount of power it's supposed to, or if it derates or even shuts off. So I'm going to plug in the Rivian R1S now and monitor it over the next 2 hours. So my R1S has been charging for 2 hours now, and it has accepted a little more than 18 kilowatt hour, which means for the entire 2 hours, it was accepting the maximum power that the EVIQO should be delivering plugged into a NEMA 1450 outlet, that being somewhere around 9 kilowatts. So let's take a look at the external temperature. We're looking at 179 degrees. So this sucker's cooking, but it's still delivering power as it's supposed to. So that's a big pass on our extreme heat test. And now it's time for the cable deep freeze test. I put the charger in this commercial freezer more than 24 hours ago. I think it's about 28 hours at this point. This is a commercial freezer that gets below freezing. It actually gets down to somewhere around negative 12, negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And we freeze the chargers for at least 24 hours, and then I see how well the cable performs. I also do a connector drop test, and then I make sure that the charger delivers power to the electric vehicle when it's frozen like that. So first, let's take a peek at exactly how cold it is inside the freezer. Negative 13.5 degrees. So that's Fahrenheit, so it's pretty cold in there. Now let's take the unit out and see how well she does. I'm hearing a lot of cracking, which typically means the cable is frozen and it isn't going to perform well. But let's see. I wrap it up in these tight loops, and now we're going to unravel it and see how easy it is to handle if you were, let's say, had your EV charging overnight in a really cold area outside, and now you've got to coil it back up on the charger as you drive away. Okay. I'm struggling here a little bit. Does not seem that great. plug cable is terrible, but we really don't worry about that because you're not going to be dealing with that. Okay. Wow, that one's stiff, but like I said, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so let me unravel it. We'll see how it's doing. Okay, not terrible. Not great, but not terrible. See how it's kind of standing out on its own? It's not like flopping. You can hear it cracking. So the outer jacket is frozen and it's kind of staying coiled up like this. You see how it's coiled? We like it to just start to just flop down like that. But let me unravel it and then we'll see how it is. It's actually not bad. This is not going to lose any points and it's not going to get any points for very good performance. Let me wrap it up here. Got all this frost on the cable. Okay, see how it's like not folding down? It's sticking to those loops here and how down here. Ideally, we'd want it to kind of be a little bit more easy to maneuver, but it's not bad. Like I said, this is definitely serviceable. This is passable if you live in a cold weather area and you know, you want to install this outside. See the frost on the unit. I wouldn't discourage you from doing so. This passes the test. It's not an excellent performing cable, so it's not going to get any extra points, like I said, but it's pretty good. It's pretty bendable. So, you know, this is not a bad showing for this cable. As far as the thickness, we always talk about the thickness of the cable. This measured God, now I forget, I did it like 2 days ago. I think it was like 18.2 millimeters. I'll put that exact measurement on up in front of the camera. Well, I can't believe, was it a 16.2 or 18.2? I forget. But I do these, when I do these reviews, it takes me like almost 2 weeks. I use the unit for a while before I do all these tests and everything. So, I don't just unbox it, do a review, and push it out. I use these things for a while to make sure everything's working good on them, which I have. And I've used this to charge all 3 of my electric vehicles for a while now. So, okay, so next up, let's do the connector drop test. And one more time for good measure, I'll go a little higher. All right, so no damage here and no surprise. This is a really well-made connector. It has a really good grip. It's thick, it's heavy. You know, probably top 5 connectors of all the chargers that we've reviewed here. I really like this connector. And the metal tab across the top here, the rocker tab that locks the connector to the vehicle, that's made of metal. That's not plastic. So this is a really well-made, strong, good connector. I definitely like this. I'd be very happy plugging this in and out every day, as opposed to some of the other cheap plastic connectors that some of the other chargers use. Okay, next up, I'm going to, well, first of all, this rubber cap, I don't like the rubber cap. It's really tight. I got it off though. I'm going to plug, if I can get this thing plugged in, this cable's really tight. Okay, it's plugged in, it's powering up. Now I'm gonna pull my Rivian R1S into the garage and plug it in just to make sure it delivers the power that it's supposed to. Okay, that should start blinking, and it did. Blue, blinking blue, so it is delivering power. I'm just going to take a few seconds and I'm going to hop inside the cab of the R1S just to make sure that it says it's delivering the 9 kilowatts that it's supposed to. And it is. It's delivering 9.3 kilowatts to the Rivian right now, so the unit passes cable deep freeze test, the connector drop test, and the cold weather power up test. So that's passes on all tests for the EVIQO. This is a Wi-Fi connected smart charger, and EVIQO does have an app that allows you to pair the charger with the app and control your charging. Let's take a look at exactly how that's done. First, of course, you have to download the app and create an account. Next, plug in the charger and you'll see the indicator light blinking blue. If you've had the charger plugged in for a long time, that might have timed out. So you want to unplug it and then plug it back in. Wait about 10 seconds and you'll see that indicator light blinking blue, and that means it's ready to connect. Next, you'll tap Add New Device and then allow the Bluetooth access so your phone can find the charger signal. Next up, hold the phone close to the charger and tap Start so your phone can find and pair with the charger. You then need to select a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network, enter your password, and wait for the unit to connect and go online. Once it's online, you then tap Setup Device, where you could name the charger, enter your address, and what EV you drive if you'd like to. Well, that's all. The charger will then search for any updates, and if there are any, it will automatically update. However, during that update process, you won't be able to use the charger to charge your car, but I'm told that typically only takes a few minutes. And once you have the app installed, you can check things like the current power draw that it's delivering to the vehicle, your line amperage, the voltage on the circuit that the charger's on. You could also set up charging schedules if you have, say, a time of use plan. You can even set individual electricity prices for each of the different schedules you set, because some plans might cost different during different times of the day, and that way you get a real accurate measurement of exactly how much it's costing you to charge your electric vehicle. You could also set a one-time delayed charging time, and in that case, when you do that, the button for the charge now, or they call it plug-in charge, which I don't really like. Some companies call the feature plug-in charge, when you immediately just plug your home charger in and it begins to charge the vehicle. I understand why they call it that, but it confuses it with the DC fast charging plug-in charge software that allows you to automatically authenticate a public DC fast charging session. In any event, the unit is set to automatically charge your electric vehicle out of the box. When you plug it in, it'll charge unless you unselect that plug-in charge feature, and then you could use either a later a delayed charge or a charging schedule. You also can unselect the plug-in charge if you want to have some access control over the charger. Let's say it's in a public space. If you deselect that, if somebody just comes up and grabs your charger and plugs in, it won't charge their car. So it does have access control. Some of the chargers have access control via the app like this does. Some will get you a RFID card. Really, that's really not for home use. It's more if you live in a apartment complex or you charge at work, where the management needs to control who uses the charger. But you can do that with this charger through the app. So that's a good feature, and it's going to get a couple extra points on the charger rater. You can also lower the amperage output of the charger. I went over earlier how you set the maximum amperage that the charger will deliver. That gets done internally with that dip switch. That just sets the maximum. Now, from the app, you can lower it if you'd like to. You can't raise it up higher than what the unit is set at, but you can lower it and dial it down a little bit if you want to. And there's a variety of reasons why people like to charge slower during different times of the day. And finally, through the app, you can also authorize it to send you notifications under certain conditions that you might want to be notified with your car's charging. Well, that's pretty much it for the app. The only thing I'd like to add to this is I had a little difficulty pairing the app initially. I actually had to get the company involved. And I spoke with the CEO and founder of the company about this. And evidently, when I downloaded the app and was trying to pair it to my charger, they were in the middle of releasing a new update for the app. And I think I had the old version, but then the software got updated so it wouldn't communicate. I don't really know what the issue was, but I know I had problems. It took me, more than a day to get it paired. So that's just full transparency. The company tells me that, this has all been ironed out and there's no issue now, but I experienced a problem with it, and that's not unique. I review a lot of charging equipment, and I have to tell you, at least a dozen times I had to contact the companies to get some help getting it paired. This is a common problem, particularly with some of the newer devices. And this is the first charger by the company. So, I think they're just kind of launching the app, and the app's okay. It worked fine. I'm really not a fan of the layout, particularly how they break up the data into weekly, monthly, and then 3-month sections. And if you want to see more granular data, you have to click on the ellipse on the top and then scroll down. The data's all there, which is good. They have the data. They just don't present it well, in my opinion. So the EVIPower passed all of our tests. It's a pretty solid unit. I'm impressed with it. I like the construction. It seems like it's well made. I really like the connector. It has a really good, well-made connector that feels good in your hands. A nice long 25-foot cable, which is the longest cable you're allowed to have on electric vehicle charging equipment. And it performed decently in our cold weather testing. So I wouldn't discourage someone for getting this if they needed to mount it outside in a cold weather area. All in all, it's a pretty solid unit at a good price. At only $399 to get a 48 amp Wi-Fi connected smart charger that comes with an app. It's a pretty good deal if you ask me. So all that's left to do now is talk about the ratings. And for that, we're going to first jump over to the Charger Rater and see how the EVIPower scored. Okay, let's start off with the cost and value category. Gets 3 points because it cost under $400. Barely, but it is under $400. It's going to get an extra point because I think it's a good value. It's going to finish up the cost and value category with 19 points. Power and weatherproofing. It's going to start off with 2 points because it's a 48 amp charger. It's going to get 2 more points for adjustable power because the power can be adjusted inside the unit with a dip switch and also in the app. It passed our extreme heat test, so it gets a point there. It is NEMA 4 rated, so it gets 2 extra points. It's Energy Star rated, and it passed the automatic restart test. So it's going to finish up the power and weatherproof rating category with an outstanding 24 points. Next up, construction and durability. It's going to get 1 point for connector and holster. I actually like the connector a lot. The holster is just average, so it's not going to get 2 points there. I'm going to give it 1 point. For cable length, it gets 2 points because it comes standard with a 25-foot cable, which is very long. It's not going to get any extra points for cable pliability. I was on the cusp here of giving it a point for good. After reviewing my video, I lean towards average. It's not bad. As I said, you could use this in cold weather, but I'm not going to give it any extra points for that. Robust construction. I'd give this average. Again, this is a close call here. I wouldn't say it's excellent. I would say it was above average, but I don't have an extra point for that, so it's not going to get any points there. Removability, it doesn't have a security lock for easy removability, so no points there. It finishes up construction and durability with 18 points. Smart and non-smart gets 2 points for being a Wi-Fi connected smart charger. The unit cannot power share. It can't share one circuit with multiple units, so no points there. It is not Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant compatible, no points. For access control, it's going to get 2 points there because you can control it through the app. Charging record data. It does get 1 point because it has extensive charging record data. I mentioned earlier I'm not a fan with how it's displayed, but it is there. It is not OCPP compliant, so no points there. It finishes up the smart and non-smart category with 20 points. Safety certified and warranty. It's safety certified, no points there. It has only a 2-year warranty, which is disappointing. So it's only going to get 2 points. I might have to revisit how I give points out with the warranty category here because I almost think only losing 1 point for that's not enough, but I can make up for that in my own personal score. So it's going to get 2 points there because it only has a 2-year warranty. Now I know you can buy that extra year for $100, but now the $399 unit costs you $499. It should come standard with the 3-year warranty like most chargers do. And I actually spoke to EVIQO about this, and they had mentioned that they have this extended warranty program where they allow you to get an extra year for free if you take a bunch of pictures of the unit installed at your house, and I guess you with it, maybe smiling like you love it, and then they give you an extra year warranty. I don't like that at all. That is real hokey, and you know, you should get a standard 3-year warranty. Not sending a company pictures of me endorsing their product just so I can get an extra year warranty. Okay, so it finishes safety certified and warranty category with 17 points. And that gives the EVIQO a total of 98 points on our charge rater, an outstanding score. And when we convert that to our 5-star rating, it gets 4.9 stars out of 5. That's actually the highest score we've ever given for the charger rater. And I don't think that was by accident. And that's because I spoke with the owner and founder of EVIQO. And he said that he watches my review videos closely. He was very anxious to get me to review the unit. He's actually sent it to me a while ago, but it took me a few months to get this lined up because I do a lot of videos here and a lot of reviews. And he told me that he designed it with the features so that it would score well on the charger rater. And because he said that, you know, a lot of the things I bring up in these review videos are important things that maybe some of the other manufacturers miss. So he designed this to score well on the charge rater, and it did. It's got the highest score we've ever given. 98 points is the highest score I've ever given on the charge rater. Okay, so 4.9 stars out of 5 with the charge rater. I then offer my own personal score. We averaged the 2 for the final score. I'm going to give the EVIQO Smart Charger a 4.2 stars out of 5, which is still a great score. It's not 4.9, but it's still a very high score. And average the 2 out to 4.55 stars out of 5 for the final score, an outstanding score for the EVIQO Evipower 48 amp smart charger. Listen, it's a good unit. It's solid construction. It's got a nice long cable. Really good connector. I think this is a type of unit that'll last a long time. It does the things I like it to do with an internal power limiting dip switch. Then in the app, you can also dial back the power. You know, if it did a few other things like power sharing, you know, perhaps being OCPP compliant so it can participate in utility demand response programs, then it would just break the record with, it might get the highest score we've ever given combined. And I also like to see the app a little bit more user-friendly. I'm not a huge fan of how the app is laid out personally. I know that's a personal thing, but this is my personal review, so I get to make that call. I'd like to see a little bit better display of individual charging sessions rather than it broken up into weekly, monthly, and 3-month segments. You know, I'm sure they're going to watch the video. Maybe they'll make some adjustments. And if it's big enough adjustments, maybe I'll come back and re-review the unit. But for now, excellent score of 4.55 stars out of 5. It's going to be added to our recommended charger list. And I guess next up, let's take a look at its hits and misses. All right, we'll start off with the hits. Okay, low price at $399 for a 48 amp Wi-Fi connected smart charger that's safety certified, has a long cable and a good connector. That's got to be number 1 on my hits. Next up is the connector and cable. It's got a nice long 25-foot cable. The connector's a really good connector. It seems like it's very well made. As I mentioned earlier, it's probably in my top 5 connectors of all the chargers that I have reviewed. And it is basically the same connector that Wallbox uses for the Pulsar Plus. And I talked about how much I like that connector. So I think they source them from the same manufacturer and they just put their own label on it. And then the solid construction. The thing's pretty well made. It's good, thick plastic. It has really good seal to keep out water. That's why it's NEMA 4 rated. So that's another one of my hits. Okay, on to the misses. I'm going to start off with the app. I had a lot of problems getting it to establish a connection. I had to get the company involved. They said that that was an unusual event, but I can only report on what I experienced. And also, I'm not a huge fan with how the app is laid out. I think it could present the data in a much clearer, more simpler fashion. And hopefully future iterations of the app will be better. Okay, warranty. We talked about this a lot. I'm not a fan of 2-year warranties. I know you can buy that extra year, and I know you could also get an extra year through the extended warranty program. If you send pictures of yourself, I guess, smiling with the unit like you love it, you shouldn't have to jump through hoops to get a 3-year warranty. I'm not a fan of that at all. And there's no J3400 option. Now, J3400 is the NACS connector or the Tesla connector. A lot of my followers now are starting to ask me which chargers are available with the NACS connector. So I'd like to see these companies that make the charging equipment offer both. This should be available in both J3400 and J1772 as it comes with, probably something on their mind of adding in the future. But for now, if you want to charge a Tesla with this unit, you can. You just need to use the adapter that actually comes with Teslas. They come with the J1772 to Tesla adapter. So if you do own a Tesla and you want to buy this unit, you can without a problem. You shouldn't even have to purchase an adapter because one came with the vehicle when you bought it. Okay, well, that's a wrap on the EVIPower 48 amp electric vehicle charger by EVIQO. This is a new company in this space. This is their first product. We'll have to keep an eye out and see if they have future products. I like their first offering. It's a pretty good offering. I don't love the warranty, as I mentioned. I didn't love the fact that the app gave me a little bit of problems, but you know, I have problems with apps a lot of times when I'm reviewing these companies. At least a dozen times I've had to get the company involved to help me pair the app or to just get it to work the way it's supposed to work. So it really doesn't surprise me when I'm doing a review and for some reason I have a glitch getting the app to link or to get it to function with all its features. You know, EVIQO, I spoke with them and they said that they're continuing to improve the app. It's relatively new and doesn't surprise me that there's some glitches with it still. So that's it. I hope this review helped you decide if you want to purchase this charger for your electric vehicle or not. If you do, there is a link in the description of this video to purchase it directly from Amazon and directly from the company itself if you want to purchase. I'll drop both of those links in the description of this video. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please don't forget, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.